up the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. You donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, the voice is still struggling from last week. I talked too much on campus. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody, to a special. This is a big, important game and a big, important week in Notre Dame football land. This one has a different feel to it. It has a different level of importance to it with what's on the line here for Notre Dame season and maybe even discussions about the Freeman era overall. This is an important day. It's good to see all you guys joining us early here. Work out the Irish nerves with us here. We're going to talk our way through some of this real quick, do a little pregame show here. So thanks for being here. As always, you know where to find me all over on YouTube, Twitter, patreon.com/alwaysirish. And that is kind of the point of this pregame show. It isn't just going to be Johnny Boy talking to you about how nervous he is. I wanted to do a pregame show with the two stars of the All-22 film breakdown from the Always Irish Patreon. Let's bring these former Notre Dame stars in. It is Mike Goolsby and Coach Jared Clark. What's going on, fellas?
Can't complain, John. We're just wasting time until this kickoff, brother. Jared, what say you?
Football Saturday, man. You gotta love it. College football game day, big one. Was it 15?
Big one.
It's a big one in the bin today, man.
Yeah,
this is bigger than this is what we're talking about, John.
Yeah,
you were banging that Texas A&M drum for 60 days, 2 months leading up to this. This is a bigger game. This is a bigger game for Freeman for this season. It's huge.
Did you guys see they were running on the bottom ticker on ESPN last night? If you're watching that ball game, they ran a thing about playoff leverage, talking about Notre Dame Louisville as the number one game of all the games today that has the most impact on playoff, making the playoff or not of any game. The swing here for either us or them to make the playoff is so significant. It just feels like the whole season's teetering on if we show up at home today and play a tough football game or not, guys.
Yeah, it's Jared, this is probably worth spending some time on as ex-players, those day games in Notre Dame Stadium. It's like, even when you were there as a player, it's just like sometimes you just didn't know what team was going to show up. Are we going to beat a top 10 Michigan team or lose to an average, Pittsburgh team?
Yeah, and I think that Texas A&M game was probably circled on the schedule for a lot of those guys. And now that we're here, I'm hoping that this Louisville game was the next one kind of circled on the schedule for those guys, the players, you know what I mean? Obviously, NIU shocks us, right? So they had to, play on the other ones and get ready for the other ones. But I believe that this has been circled on the calendar for a while. It's at home, and if it wasn't for Georgia, Alabama playing today, it's the game of the nation, right? It's the game of the week. College game day that is there. Everybody's there. But what you said about playoff picture, right? I mean, Bama and Georgia are still going to get in with a loss to those teams. I think the Louisville Notre Dame game, whoever loses this game is the outside looking in.
Yeah,
it's massive.
Yeah, that's for sure. Jared, I wanted to circle back to something you mentioned on last week's All-22 breakdown, which is fantastic, by the way, you guys. I learned something every week from you guys, just sitting back and observing you going through the film offensively and defensively. It's a great feature. I'm learning a lot. Jared, you mentioned you feel like Freeman and Notre Dame's having a preparation problem against maybe like, I don't want to be offensive, but like lower tier opponents, a preparation issue to get focused in that moment. Are you hopeful that Louisville's big enough of a game in a moment, and with the revenge from last year and what they did, that won't be an issue today? Like, do you have any feel for this at all this week in this moment?
Yeah, listen, if you can't get up for this game, there's an issue, right? I mean, these guys understand how big of a game this is. You should get Notre Dame's best today. So there's no excuses. You come out there and lay an egg today, there's no excuses, right? I do believe, just in some of the interviews, Mike, you've talked about some of the things that Freeman said, and some of the things that Riley Leonard has said about this is how you prepare for a game, right? I think that there's a weaker opponent, weekly preparation issue. I really do. And to me, as a coach, it just goes back to a standard that you live by every day. It doesn't matter who you play. And when you back things up according to who you're playing, you send a message to your team that it's not as important of a game, right? And those guys feel that they get that message, whether you're meaning to give them that message or not. So I'm hoping that that has changed. Since NIU, I'm hoping they've spent 3 weeks of working their ass off to just raise the standard of Notre Dame football as far as how you prepare, no matter who it is. This is who you are. This is what you do. You wake your ass up every day and go to work, right? You're going to get 1% better every day, and stack days. And hopefully, when you look at who you were at the beginning of the season, you look at who you are now going into week 5, right? It's a whole different player and it's a whole different team. And that's, as a coach, that's what you hope you're getting out of those guys.
So much to sort out there, John. There's a lot to sort out because, Jared, you talked about, hey, if you can't get up for this game, what are we doing here, right? You don't understand what Notre Dame's all about, whatever. So there's like day game mentality. Freeman's got something to do with that. And then you're talking about putting so much of that hay in the barn throughout the course of the week. And then this is important. Like last year, we lost this game. We lost to Louisville, Jared. And going into that game, Freeman and staff had this just brilliant idea. Like, hey, we're gonna shuffle around our offensive line. We're gonna rotate some players. We're gonna have our left guard play right guard in the second half. And you put these, I don't know what the word is, but you put these thoughts into these players' heads. It's like, okay, well, coach, if we're gonna rotate, we're gonna experiment. This team can't be that good. And then you like the NIU week. We're taking Thursday off. We're going to walk through in the second week of the season. And then you give these players like, okay, I trust coach. Maybe we got this game in the bag. And then back to your point in terms of the standard, when I hear the standard, it's like a level of execution, a level of effort come game day. And then through the course of that week, like don't change anything. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You just knocked off Texas A&M. Do the same freaking thing week 2.
Yeah, just get better, right? Just get better at the things that you weren't good at, right? To me, bad football teams play different for us Friday night, right? For college Saturdays. They play different on Saturdays, right? There's so many teams that we play against that are extremely talented, but you just don't know who you're going to get on Friday because I don't know if it's coaching or the kid or whatever. But at Notre Dame, man, I truly believe, I don't think if you're trying to get up, you cruise through the week and then you're just going to show up on Saturday. That's not what elite teams do, right? Elite teams show up every single day. They work their ass off every day. There's a standard of work ethic and what is expected of you on a daily basis. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. And you're going to push yourself every day, and you just got to get used to that standard. And Saturday, it's just another day, right?
Saturday's a party. Saturday should be a party.
Go out there and show what you've been doing.
It's a party, especially at Notre Dame. I mean, it's like, again, this is your time to have fun at a program at a school like that. Well, Jared, whose job is it to maintain that standard, brother? The head guy, the leadership.
Yeah, that's Freeman's job, but you can't. The coordinators and the assistants all got to be on the same page, right? The strength staff, everybody, they all got to be on the same page. You walk into the meeting rooms on Monday or whatever Sunday or whatever your first, and everyone's got the same mentality, and it's like that every day. If you got guys if you got a coordinator that's trying to back it off, or you got an assistant coach that's like trying to take it easy on guys, it's just not going to work. So Freeman's got to coach the coaches, and the coaches will coach the players.
Jared, I want to ask you this. It's really interesting to me. You're a former player and now a high-level high school coach in Florida State Championship winning coach. I want to ask you this. The inconsistency is what's driving everybody nuts with this Notre Dame team. You never know what you're going to get. It's up, it's down. You never know what you're going to get, and it's driving everyone nuts. The coaches, I'm sure, the fans are losing their minds. They don't know whether you could buy in and trust your team or not. And the media doesn't know what to make, and I include myself in that, doesn't know what to make of this team week to week. When you find yourself knowing you have a very talented team, and I believe Notre Dame has that, but you're really inconsistent, how do you go about calming the seas and just trying to find a level you can rely on? How do you go about fixing that inconsistency problem as a coaching staff?
Yeah. So, first of all, I don't get a chance to watch and pour into Notre Dame and the lineup and the personnel and all that stuff as much as you guys do. But I'm a huge Notre Dame fan, and it pains me to say this, but when you have that inconsistency showing up on Saturday, you might not be as good of a football team as you think you are. Now, it's early in the year and you can gain it, but I think what you do is exactly what I said. That, every day those guys need to know exactly what to expect. On Sundays, we do this. On Mondays, we do this. On Tuesdays, this is our run game. Now, we might add a wrinkle here or there. This is our quick game. These are our screens. This is our drop back pass game. This is our rollout game, right? This is our play action game. We know what it is. Now you're going to find different ways to get there with formations and motions and all that stuff, right? To put a little window dressing on it so they can't just get all your tendencies. But you have to have something that you fall back on. Right. This is an identity. Okay. This is our run game. I think their run game identity is mid zone. Okay. And there's a bunch of different ways you can run it. All right. Their drop back pass game is quick game. And he's got a couple that he likes, right? We talked about the righty lefty route, the Hank route, and you're going to hope he adds one or two every week and gets a little bit better at those. But you just work your ass off in practice on getting great at those things. And this is who we are. And this is how we're going to beat them. Defensively, I haven't watched him as much. I think that those guys have bought in, right? Hey, it's going to be a little weird sometimes. We're going to give up chunk plays every once in a while. We do some things that aren't very sound every once in a while. But every time, we'll give up a chunk play, but we'll get a 12-yard, 7-yard sack, right, and get them off schedule, so they'll have to punt or they won't get it in the end zone.
So I want to move that conversation, fellas, along and things to focus on in this Louisville game. Jared, you brought up that word identity, because it's like, for 2-3 years now, John, on the offensive side of the ball, it's like, what are we doing? But this is important, getting back to the all-22 and watching the coach's tape. It really was a revelation for Riley Leonard the second half last week. Like he looked like a completely, and it's like, I don't know what was said to him at halftime. Like, hey, Riley, you got to get your shit together. Or like we're thinking like, I don't know what was said, but he was a different player. And Jared, looking at that film, Denbrock's had, he got the 4 weeks back, 4 weeks into the season that he didn't have during the spring to kind of toy and experiment and find out what Riley's comfortable with. But you could just see it. It's like, he's at that baseline. He looks like a real quarterback. Things are going to be sped up this week, but things to focus on as fans watching this massive game. I'll start like, like Anthony Knapp, our left tackle. Jared, you didn't like him since like week one. You're like, he's kind of struggling, and it's like since week one, and he's a feel-good story because he's a true freshman. But like this week, Riley's play is definitely interwoven with your left tackle's play.
Yeah, but by the way, it's not that I don't like him.
No, that's fair. You know what I'm saying.
The whole thing came from that PFF tweet about what a great game he had, and I was like, come on now, we're just not being honest about how.
That's right. That's exactly.
I like him a lot.
Accurate.
18-year-old kid, and he's working his ass off, and he's fighting. And you watch him in the run game; he does some really good stuff. He's light in the ass and gets his ass kicked a little bit on drop back pass game. But I'll say this real quick: what you said about the spring with Riley, and what I said about these guys trying to find an identity. Hey, it's a new coaching staff, right? It's a new offensive coordinator. It's a quarterback that has not had a spring. So your first month, there's going to be some inconsistencies. You got to figure out your identities. So that gives me hope as a fan. It's like, okay, well, maybe they're trying to figure that out, and hopefully they have. If they haven't by now, it's going to get exposed in this game. So
John,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jared. Sorry, Jared. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what I would love to see is some of the things we talked about last week through the all 22. More 10 personnel, not necessarily 10 personnel, but the tight end detached, right? Do some no huddle. Let this kid get in a rhythm. You got to get that first down, though, for no huddle to really take effect. Do some no huddle, some quick throws early to get Riley comfortable, right? Get the ball out of his hands. And then as the game goes on, when he has an opportunity to take a shot, take that shot, right? I think those things, and I think you're going to see a lot of man coverage out of Louisville, which is good because you saw against Purdue and I think they've really worked on man. So I think they'll have a game plan for that, whether it's motion and the rub stuff and all that stuff, which is going to make it difficult for Louisville to just pin their ears back and come. Those are the things that I'd like to see in this game.
Let me ask both of you guys. And I don't know if this is more of a fan thing and I'm obsessed with it or whatever. How important do you think it is for everything today that Notre Dame gets off to a better start? We've had a couple of these home games, and each of them, the start has been so bad. The home fans are booing our own team. You could hear the moans and groans. Last week being in the stadium, you could hear the moans and groans all through the first quarter, and we're not playing well, and we snapped out of it and ended up not being close. How important do it is for the confidence of the players to get some energy going in that stadium today? How important do you think it is to just get off to a better start today? And what can Notre Dame do to try and make that happen?
Jared, I'll speak from a player's perspective. And I love, as the more content we do, Jared, like it's so fun that Jared is a coach. So we look at stuff as a fan like, oh, that sucks. It's like, what are you talking about? You got 3.5 yards on first down. Like, great play call. Like, it's totally different to have a coach watch film with you as a fan. But what do you think about that fast start from a coaching perspective, Jared?
Yeah, this is something that we preach all the time. It's so critical. It really is, to get things going quickly. And especially with Notre Dame's offensive struggles, man, the longer it takes for you to start getting first downs, the longer it takes for you to get points on the board, those players feel that, man.
Yep.
They start to feel it. And I think, you talked about the difference between Riley in the first half and second half. Those last two drives were critical. There were two scoring drives, right? They go down and put one. He throws the deep one to
Collins.
Or no, that was the second drive. But the first one, I think it was the fourth drive of the game. They go down there and put one in, right? And then they get the ball back with 2 minutes and 1 second, and they drive down. He throws the deep one to Bo. I think that was the difference in the game offensively. They started to feel, okay, hey, there's a little bit of breathing room here, right? We got some success. Riley calmed down. So I think it helps, obviously. Now, what do? Again, I think it goes back to easy throws. Get that first down, right? Go get that first down. I know we have really good tight ends, okay? So mess around with formations and get a lot of information in the first half, right? Mess around with personnel. Go to 12, go to 11, getting no attached tight end. See how they're going to play you. But those are the things. That's the information you got to get in the beginning, and then easy throws. Love's a great guy to get the ball in his hands as much as you possibly can early on.
Oh my God!
Right. Get the ball in his hands as much as possible. What's your identity? Well, run your identity in that first drive, right? Typically, teams will script their first 10 to 12 plays. you should have 7 freaking touches for love in those first 12 plays, right? You should have a couple quick throws, maybe a shot in there. Okay. Now you got to get that first down or you're completely off that script, right? But those are the things. Hopefully they've worked that script so they know what the first 10, 12 plays are going to be. They're all over it. No matter what kind of front or coverage they see, they're dialed in. I think that helps you with a fast start.
And I think too, if you go back to last week's game, clunky start, getting booed in your home stadium. Second play of the game, we had a false start. So like when I think about it from a player perspective and a leadership thing, you're a Jack Kaiser, you're a Riley Mills. Like, fellas, we got to lock in because to your point, Jared, you second snap of the game, we're false starting. It's like you just you throw a stick in the spokes on your bike. It's just like you got to help each other out. So from a player perspective, coach is going to make the right calls. We got to execute. That takes you back to that standard. Round and round and round and round and we go. The identity thing is so interesting, and that's where I feel like Freeman's a little bit lost. And based off of the quotes. I don't know how involved he is at the offensive side of the ball. But to your point, Jared, a blind man can see this. I mean, if Jeremiah Love, I think I tweeted about it last night, if Jeremiah Love doesn't get 20 touches in a game of this magnitude, backs against the wall, I'll be speechless, John.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing?
I'm not a coach. I'm not an expert. But you don't have to overthink things. Most games we play, Love is the best player on both sides. He is the best player. I just feel like you got to find more ways to get him involved. And I know you like your rotation and they have certain things they want to do or whatever. It's just, especially with an offense that has spurts of sputtering all the time. And don't make it harder than it has to be. Feed your best guy and let the guy cook and let him eat. I want to ask you guys both this too. Here's something that's causing anxiety for the Notre Dame fans this week, other than just showing up and being ready. How do you feel about Notre Dame's offensive balance today? I feel like you're going to have to run it and throw it a little bit to be able to beat this Louisville team. I don't think you're just going to be able to do one all day against a talented Louisville defense. That's where people have anxiety. Are we going to be able to do enough of both here to get this over the hump? What do you feel about there? Could you lean more on the run and today than you have been, or do you want to see a balance that's pretty even?
Yeah. So real quick, one more thought about starting fast. We got to play great special teams, right? Then we have a muff punt, which gave them field position,
and early in the game, a botch snap, both in like the first quarter, muff punt. And that, again, it goes back to not being like the preparation, not being locked in. Oh, I'm so tired of it, John.
It isn't. Hey, listen, it isn't just that. Then you blew your trick end around kick return trick with Love. It worked, and it got called back for a penalty. So not only did you show it, you showed it against Miami, Ohio, which kind of makes me mad that you showed what that trick was against them. It worked, and it got called back for a penalty. You had 3 special teams horrific mistakes early, and I don't know what you chalked that up to, but I don't like it.
Well, that goes back to coach being coach. Don't forget about the third phase. But, John, the reason that they whipped that out, that reverse, is because we had no damn juice. We had no juice. So he's like, let's call this trick play to get some momentum going.
Yeah. So you got to win special teams. You got to play. You got to win that portion of the game, or just be solid in that area where you're not giving them an extra possession, or you're not going backwards. I mean, the first 2 quarters, I think we started inside of our 10, inside of our 5, inside of our 15 every drive. That's hard on a struggling offense. That's difficult, right? And, I'm okay. So Lou Holtz always says if they run a trick play, that means they think they can't beat you straight up. See, I'm a little bit different mentality. I think that stuff gets the players going. They're all waiting to call it. When you call a trick play, it gets everybody, and it works. It gets everybody. College football is all about momentum, especially in big games like this. It will get you the momentum back. So I hope they got some kind of trickery on offense just to get the momentum back if they need it, right? Just to throw a wrench in and the tendency, deal for Louisville. But as far as spreading these guys out, that's who I am. I like this. I'd rather take a guy, take a tight end and split them out rather than take a tight end in and block the guy. Now, there's different fronts that people play where you need a tight end. You're much more successful with a tight end in there. But to answer your question about do we need to be a balanced offense, if we're going to be a good football team, yes, man, we're going to have to be able to throw it. We're going to have to be able to throw it downfield. We're going to have to be able to run the ball in between the tackles. And we're going to have to be efficient in our quick drop back game. We have to be.
Well, in prior games, whether it was 10, 11, 12, the balance, John, of play calling versus run versus pass has been dead nuts right down the middle.
Yep. Yeah.
But back to the nuance thing, buddy.
It's the efficiency of it. It's the efficiency. It's not the percentage. It's the efficiency when you're calling it, right?
But I'm sitting there going, it's too big of a game, fellas. Like, I love the rotation, but this isn't a game for charity where we want to get Devin Ford his touches. It's like, okay, if you're going to call a 3rd and 11 draw play, put the best player on the team in. Do it with love. You don't need to do it with 20 or with 22. You don't so back to that consistency, running backs coach McCullough, get with Denbrock. It's like, okay, when I make this play call on 3rd and 12 and we need it as a draw, don't put Aeneas Williams in the game. Put Jeremiah Love in the game. He can play next week. It's too big of a game.
Yeah, barring any kind of injury, Love and Price should be the only backs that play this game. They've proven they'll block.
Thank you.
They'll block for Riley if it's a QB run. Those guys.
Oh, you saw on film. You saw Jeremiah Love on that. Was it that Riley's touchdown run? Just pancake somebody. He's an explosive athlete.
He cares, man. He cares. He'll do it. He'll sell out for his teammate. I believe Price will too. Those guys will get those things done, man. In my opinion, those two, barring some kind of injury or fatigue or something like that, you should see 2 running backs today.
Oof. Powerful stuff, John.
That's good stuff. I don't want to overlook this. This is a very, very basic thing. But if we're looking at this specific ball game today and the anxieties we have about it from your guys, both of your experience, if you're sitting there stressed a little bit about this, how much of that is on the defensive side of the ball? Or are your brains going mostly to that offensive, the inefficiency, unreliability of that offense? Are you guys fairly confident defensively we're going to be ready to play and do enough to be just, be in a good position to win the game as long as the offense does anything? Or do you have a little anxiety defensively as well? Where are you guys at on that?
I'll take this one because, on the Patreon, Jared, you're more than welcome to come over and help me peel apart the defense. It's weird doing it by yourself, but the defense is great. Golden scheme is golden scheme, John. It's like he has the luxury of playing a ton of man-to-man. If it's this is just stuff to pay attention to. If it's second and long, Jared, 2nd and 15 or something, he'll just zone it up and then he'll come back 3rd and long with some sort of creative blitz. But he plays a ton of man. He's happy to leave us vulnerable in the run game on a 3rd and 18. It's like he'll just vacate the box. It's like everybody, it's like a ghost town. The box is a ghost town, but he knows he's got athletes that'll rally to the ball and he'll give up a 10-yard play. The things that make me a little bit nervous, and I think I texted you and Shepkowski last night, John. It's like there isn't a consistent, Jared, back to the standard, all these conversations, brother. There isn't a consistent effort to the ball at all 3 levels on the defense. And it's like I highlighted a couple different plays where Riley's sitting out. Riley's up there with his thumb up his ass. Riley Mills, he's not doing anything on some of these given snaps. It's like there has to be a certain level of consistency and energy to the ball. And then the last thought is, we love the linebacker group, all of the athleticism, but Jared, they don't have to play the run. It's like literally their job is to go out there and blitz, or I've got the back man-to-man. 60% of the time it's like you're blitzing. So it's about time in a game this big, John, it's time to get home on some of these blitzes. You feel me? It's like you're getting sent. You're going to play 28 snaps. You're going to get sent 15 of those 28. How about you get home once or twice in a game like this?
Yeah, I think with a defense like that, it is difficult to just hang your hat on something, which for us at Mooney, we have a similar style defense where it's a lot of blitz, and your old school coaches are kind of like, dude, like these guys don't get good at just playing their position, but it's effective, man. It's effective. So there's got to be
what we're saying is like, so I'm playing inside linebacker, like I'm reading it out. It's like in this team, no, you're not. Go blitz.
Where's number 2? I'm gonna go wall off number 2, or I'm hitting the A gap, right?
It's more of that. I'm hitting the A gap.
Right. So yeah, it's hard to find an identity with that, but I think this is kind of how the game is changing, maybe a little on defense.
True.
Teams had to have come up with something for all the RPO stuff, all the spread offense, RPO stuff, and this has kind of been, I think the answer is like, hey, you got to get them off schedule, so you got to get a negative play. What you said about effort, Ghouls, this is not necessarily true. Effort shows up everywhere on the ball, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. But in my mind, effort on defense is critical, right? You can have a lesser player just play with good technique, and then everyone talks about a motor. Well, that's just effort, right? If you have a great motor, it makes up for a lot of things. And I've seen some of your breakdowns where 99's getting his ass kicked, and he kind of just, or 41 makes the play 9 yards deep. He's playing 3 technique. Like, that stuff can't happen. That cannot happen. And we're far enough in the season now where I think we're playing like 8 linebackers or 6 linebackers. Find your best, man. Find your best. If they get tired, you got 2 or 3 other ones to come in there and give them a blow. But play your best guys in this game.
I agree. I think we talked about that over on Patreon. It's like, yeah, you're to the point. The experimentation is done, John. Like, here's your dudes, and we're going to roll out with that. But I'm just telling you, talk about that sleepy day game, Notre Dame Stadium, and I don't know if tonight's going to be. What do we got? 2 hours. 2 hours. It's like, to your point, John, if we hit the ground running, we start fast, the crowd's into it. Yep. It's a party. It's a party. It's a party. Put the Vega voice on, dude. Jesus Christ.
I want to say, because this is, I think, John, your original question is how much pressure does the defense feel about the offensive struggles? I don't think enough has been made about what a job that, and maybe you guys have talked about this, but the defense has not flinched, man. They don't care about what the offense is doing. They show up every day and they
9.75 points allowed per game. It reminds me a lot of 2012, where that defense held teams to under 10 average and the offense struggled every week, used 2 quarterbacks just to score enough. I'm having a lot of those kind of vibes. I'm
pushing back though.
Okay.
Back to the effort. How many balls were on the ground last week and how many did we fall on?
Well,
right. So, I mean, you're talking about there's a 10, if you can get yourself geared up 10 more %, we're getting that ball back. And that's a lack of effort thing.
But Mike, you lived through this in 2001, right? Where our defense was 2000 as well, where our defense was legit, man. Right. And I can remember midway through the season, there being like,
oh yeah, there was
almost
split.
2 teams.
Yeah.
It's the offensive team and the defensive team. And the defense was like fed up with it. It's like, how many times have we got to pitch a shutout to win a game? You know what I mean? How much we were scoring on special teams. We're scoring 10 points a game on offense, and we're winning games because our defense is playing their nuts off. And then we get into games where they give up a touchdown and we're down 7 points now. And the defense is kind of like, we go 3 and out on offense and the defense gets frustrated. So the fact that I haven't felt that.
I hear you.
I hope it's not coming. I hope it's not coming. You know what I mean?
You're right. Yeah, that Boston College game.
It's critical. That
Boston College game. We give up 14 points and lose the game somehow.
We did turn the ball over, I think, 7 times in that game, by the way.
We put the ball on the ground 5 times.
Maybe this is a good time for me to ask one of my last questions before we get into some predictions and then go stress out before the game.
Oh no.
Yeah, you guys, I got to do this to you. I got up this morning and I thought I got to have a few questions for these boys. I'm going to throw this at you because I don't know what I'm going to get. As former Notre Dame players with experience here, How do you feel about the green jerseys for Notre Dame at home and how's your relationship emotionally with the green jersey gambit that Notre Dame does? I just want to throw that at the players here and see what you guys feel about it.
Jared, I saw your reaction. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, you almost fell out, Jared.
I hate it. I hate it with all of my being. I hate it. And there's not much more. You
got to walk me through why, though. Tell me what it does to you that makes you have that visceral reaction. I got to know.
It's turned into a gimmick just to be a gimmick. You know what I mean? It's not what it takes me back to that BC game, man. Like, we come out in those daggum. There was no reason for us to wear those green jerseys in that game, right?
Yeah.
Not anybody cares about when, 20 years ago, but like, I can remember Notre Dame would show, they'd wear those jerseys in huge games, and it would be a surprise. It would be like a shot in the arm. It wasn't decided on Monday or Tuesday, you know what I mean? And you have a player meeting about should we wear them, which I don't necessarily think is a horrible thing, but man, you're Notre Dame. It's week 5. It's a big game. Show your ass up and play your balls off. Maybe if it would have been a surprise, I don't know. I have a bad memories of the green jerseys.
This is why
I hate them.
This is why Jared and I get along and why the content's pretty good, because we're aligned here. I'm to the point I don't care. So I'm leaning towards, I hate it. And then this week, Jared, it was like, they asked Freeman, like, who are we wearing green jerseys? He's like, I don't know. He kind of left it up to the captains. And I'm sitting there going, as an ex-captain, like, no, we don't deserve to wear the green jerseys. Like, if we play well, like, it's just another distraction. It's more bullshit, Jared. And I want to talk about that Boston College green jersey game, because there's nuance to this, John. And I've told this story several times. But we go out and warm up in that 6-inch grass at Notre Dame Stadium. You got all this lactic acid in your legs. Remember the warm-ups, Jared? Felt like you already played half a game. The warm-ups were bullshit. And then you come into the locker room, John, and then this is after warm-ups, and then there's a green jersey hanging up in there. And I'm like, frick. Yeah. I got to take all my shit off now. I have to take all the tape off my ankles. Yeah. And then, and as anybody that knows, like, dude, getting a jersey off is not easy. So I'm exerting all of this energy to take this shit off to put on this stupid green jersey. Like, and I got 20 minutes to do that. Remember that? It was like a scramble.
And by the way, like you said, we put the ball on the ground 5 times. I blame the green jerseys for that.
The slickness of it.
Probably had nothing to do with it, but I hate it, man.
You don't deserve based off the way that they played this season, they leave it up to the captains. Like, no, to hell with that. No. We're wearing blue. We'll talk about it for the USC game or whatever.
Yeah. If we
don't deserve it.
Right. If we're playing a big game at the end of the year, if we're playing USC away, or it's got to be home.
It's ridiculous.
Big game at home, right, at the end of the year, and it's got playoff implications or something like that. It's a surprise. But the thing is in years past, they've kind of worn it against, I won't say non-ers, but not great games, right? They've turned it into a non-special thing where it was like, it was only done. I remember when we got to Notre Dame, it was like, you only wear the green jerseys one time in your career here. They were broken out like every 4 years.
Yep.
Right. And it was for huge games. The lure of the green jerseys, they've washed off all that.
That's the problem I have too. It doesn't feel like it is that big moment. Like it's limited to that big moment, and it's a surprise, and it's the right matchup with the right feel that week. Like for instance, Bush push 100% made sense. Totally, it all made sense to pull out green for Bush push. The emotion was there, the dynamic was there. You wanted that extra energy in the building against Reggie. That all made sense. Yes. But when we're doing something way ahead to sell jerseys and get a bunch of green jerseys off the rack or whatever, you're losing the bid to me, and then you're watering it down, and I just don't. I have bigger concerns with Notre Dame, but I don't love it.
I watched that USC game last night. I was just kind of getting myself geeked up. And Jared, you want to talk about chaotic energy and like, I mean, I'm watching it on my phone on YouTube late at night. And I'm like, man, John, you could just feel that electricity coming through your phone, just in terms of like how everybody was hitting and running. Unbelievable.
Everything about it.
I watched Catholic versus Convicts the other day. God, it was awesome. But they wore blue jerseys. Was that a big game?
Woo, baby. Man, it was so I don't know, you guys. We'll see. We're gonna see how we come out here today, and it's gonna be the white pants. That's a little different too. So you're gonna have the green tops, the like off green, and then I believe we're going with the white pants. Jared, you almost faded away back into your green screen again. I hate to do it to you, brother, but I think they're going with white.
We got to create a standard, dude. Who are we? We're not this gimmicky. I almost said the F word. We're not this gimmicky freaking. You know what I mean? Like. I hate it, man.
Maybe we're just getting old, Jared. Now, the green and white is going to look clean as shit. It's going to look good. But to your point, we're Oregon now. Like, it's like.
If you're going to do that, then do it every week. Have a different one every week.
It's just, okay, one more thing on this, and we'll get into some predictions here. The other reason I don't like this is you're kind of signaling this is a big game moment with the green. But the game's not even on TV, man. It's you're airing it on Peacock only. It's not even on TV. And it's a day game. None of that hits me as like what I think of like
Great
the
point.
big game situation, whatever. You're making it your big marketing thing. It ain't even on TV. So is it a big game moment or not? Can we decide? The game's in an hour and a half. Can we decide? Is it a big moment or not?
Yeah.
Oh my God, John, great point.
Listen,
what? I'm serious. Make up your mind.
You're right on. And here's the problem. We're speaking all this negativity into the atmosphere right now.
Boy.
Well, welcome to the Always Irish show, Jared. All I do is worry.
Because I'm getting pissed off.
I'm just saying, I worry and think about all this kind of stuff, man.
No, but Jared goes back. We kick the show off. Aside of Bama, Georgia, this is the game of the weekend. You got to go on Peacock to get it.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Everything's a little disjointed. It doesn't quite add up. And I think that's fair to say. I don't even think that's being negative. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, I just think it's a weird dynamic. All right, guys. So let's wrap this up a little bit. I love this little hit here. I think we should give a couple predictions here, and I'll start. I had to log my prediction on Sports Illustrated, write up a little paragraph every week saying what we think is going to happen. I got Notre Dame winning 26-20, not putting up a ton of points. I think we get one play somewhere, whether it's a defensive play, we get something. That's the difference. A little struggle on offense that I expect to be frustrated with. And I just think Notre Dame does enough at home in this situation to get it done. It ain't going to be pretty. I think I'm going to be frustrated, but I think Notre Dame fights it out. Playoff lives still alive as we get into the bye. My confidence level in this pick, not high. I still don't know what we're going to get. That maybe you could say that's what I want to happen. I don't have high confidence in the pick because I just don't trust my team right now. That's where I'm at.
Jared, are you ready? You want me to go?
I'm ready. I don't like doing predictions, but
me neither.
That's why we're doing it. That's good. That's called good YouTube, you guys. I don't like being on the hook either. That's why I'm putting us all on the hook.
I never do this, so I'll do this for you guys.
Oh, special.
So I think they're going to score points, right? I think they're going to score points, but I think, like you said, I think we got to set up a score with special teams, and I think we got to score on defense or set up a score with a defensive pick, turnover or something. So I'm going to go 31-24 Irish.
A lot of points.
Yeah, you're getting into that.
I think we're going to light it up offensively today, just so you know.
Ooh, Mike, you were telling people to hammer the under.
Yeah, so the over-under.
I don't ever do this. This is why I don't do this, but that's
no. I'm the same way, Jared. I hate this more than the green jerseys. So the over-under when it opened, when I first laid eyes on it, was 48.5. It's moved down, John, to like 46-ish, So, if you like Coach Clark, you're betting the over at 31-24. I'm going 28-14. 28-17. Where's that put me? Yeah, it puts me at 45. I like that. I'm going 28-17 Irish. But I'm ready to lose. If we die, we die, John.
Yeah.
I'm ready to lose.
Yeah, by the way, I don't care if it's nothing. You got to win the game.
You texted that last night to me and Shepkowski. You were just like, hey, I'm rolling with this, but I'm ready to lose. Like, if we're going down, I'm ready to go down. Like, we're doing it. And it's so, I don't know, you guys. This is going to be really, really interesting. It's a pivotal point in the season for Notre Dame. It feels like a big week for Freeman as well. Then, good or bad, you get into this bye. That's going to be interesting, you guys. All the narrative for the next half a month is going to be Notre Dame saved their season and they maybe can make a playoff run, or burn it all down. Everything's terrible. You're out of the playoff before October. Everything's screwed up. This is a big inflection point for the year, and I think Freeman feels the importance of the moment. Anything else before we wrap up? And again, thanks a lot, you guys, for joining here, man. It's like bringing the All-22 to life. Thank you.
Check out, check out the All-22. Check out the Patreon. Dip your toe in that water. It's been a good product. Jared, I'm ready to get out of here, and I think I'm going to leave us with something, John, as we
oh boy,
as we get dialed in for game time. You ready?
I'm scared to know.
Get fired up, John. Get fired up, John.
Dude, I hate it. I hate it. It's horrible. Quit playing it. That's it. Show's over. You ruined it. The show's over.
Flinch, Notre Dame. Don't flinch. Be you, man. Fly around and have some fun.
So horrible, Mike. I can't believe you did that to us. All right, that's it, everybody. We're getting out of here. Everybody, we're going live right after the game. Take your calls. We'll fire it up, good or bad, happy or sad. Give Johnny a call 1 minute after the game. Thank you guys for being here. Mike and Jared, everybody, check out that Patreon and the All-22 special. And go Irish. We'll see what we're going to get. Have a good weekend, everybody.